Okay, so I'm recording this session so that whenever you want to go back to it, you can just find it on my YouTube channel and yeah, you can go over everything that we've gone through.
Okay, all right, sure.
Okay, so I think we are going to start with, let's start with the easiest view. Okay, so in the strategy that, in the package that you've paid for, it comes with two strategies. The first one I'm going to be talking about is the easy SNB. Then the second one is called the extreme SNB. But before I get into these two things, I first want to know, how much do you know about Forex? Where are you at when it comes to like Forex? Have you done research in the past before?
Okay, well, I know a lot about Forex at the moment. I started doing Forex back in early 2020, before we had the COVID outbreak. Yeah, so ever since I've been so committed.
Oh, I see.
So I've blown so many accounts, and I've tried to make a bit of money. Sometimes I make, sometimes at the last minute, I blow it all.
No, I understand. That's
Yeah,
good.
so
At least you got the foundation, I guess.
yeah. So I would say I'm not really a beginner.
No, I get. So you know things like lots, pips, leverage.
Yes, everything. Yes.
Okay. So there's no need for us to go over that. Yeah.
No.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this. Okay. So yeah. So since you're not really a beginner, it should be very easy for you to understand the strategies. The easiest MB,
Yeah.
it's less effective than the other strategy. I will explain why. But anyway, how to go about the strategy is it only requires one account when it comes to trading news events. First, actually, news events. How much do you know about fundamental analysis?
Well, I don't know much about fundamental analysis. Well, I know about it, but how to apply it to my trading.
I see.
Because sometimes what I used to do is I would apply my technical analysis and my fundamental analysis together. So wherever the market, the fundamentals will find me, that's where I'll get started in line with the technicals.
I see. I see. Okay. But you understand what we do as fundamental analysis traders, yeah? Like what a news event is and so on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's good then. All right, so back to the easiest MB. It only requires one account when it comes to executing it. Now, the whole idea of this strategy is to hedge the trade. Now, the only way that is possible is by using buy stops and sell stops. Or one of the ways anyway, buy stops and sell stops. For the other strategy, we do it, we hedge trade here, but like we do it in a different way. But anyway, for the easiest MB, we use buy stops and sell stops. So you'll be placing one buy stop and one sell stop, which is one position and two positions in total. You're following?
Yes.
Okay. I'm guessing you already know what buy stops are, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So buy stops are just there to assure you that whichever direction price goes, you'll be on the safe side. So if price is a buy, the buy stop will be there for you. Then if price is a sell or if it drops, the sell stop will be there for you, and so on. So just like this, we're hedging the trade. So whichever direction price goes will be on the safe side. Now, the reason why I say it's less effective than the other strategies is because when placing the buy stops, we place them 10 pips away. So price has to move 10 pips before it go live into a trade. Now, if you're using a lot size of, let's say lot size one, that's $10 per pip. Now, for 10 pips, that means you'd have lost $100 as opposed to the other strategy, which you don't give away any 10 pips or anything like that. So yeah, this is the reason why it's less effective. If you're using, let's say, lot size 10, that's $1,000 you've missed out on, and so on. It's less effective in this way. I hope it has made sense.
Yes.
Yeah. We can move on.
Yeah, we can move.
Okay. When it comes to the EasySMB, it's got its own list of news events that you can only trade it with. So there's CAD GDP, there's GBP GDP, AUD interest rates, GBP PMI, AUD retail sales, Euro interest rates, and GBP interest rates. So any news event that's not amongst this list here is considered to be useless when it comes to the EasySMB. Or not really useless, but we don't trade them. For the EasySMB, it's got this list. Then for the other strategy, it's got its own list as well. The reason why they've got two different lists is because this list is, in as much as it is, as there are three bulls or like high impact news events, they don't really move as much as this list here for the extreme SMB. Now, the reason why we use the EasySMB for this less powerful list is because in case this event, for example, doesn't move, the EasySMB won't cause a loss for you, because if it doesn't move, that means it doesn't trigger any buy stops or sell stops. So you'll still be at the same level. You won't make any loss, you won't make any profit, and so on. That's why we choose the EasySMB for it. I hope you've understood.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, move on. Do you have any questions?
Right now I'm getting it.
Okay. I'll send you this, by the way, so that you can use it as reference. If you want, you can memorize the list so that you don't have to be pulling out the picture all the time.
Okay, cool.
Okay. The next strategy we're going to be focusing on is the extreme SMB. By the way, SMB just stands for sell and buy. It's just us hedging the trade. Yeah. Now, this one's a bit more advanced. It requires two accounts. Now, for instance, if you've got an account with, let's say, just Forex and Hotforex, you'll be managing both accounts at the same time when it comes to executing the extreme SMB. So yeah, two accounts, you'll be managing them side by side. Then the whole idea is to hedge the trade, just like the previous strategy. But the way we're going to do it in this strategy is by placing a buy in one of the accounts. And then in the other accounts, we're going to place a sell, which is the opposite type of trade. I hope that has made sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, the whole idea is to lose money in one account. Then in the other account, where there's the opposite trade, our whole idea with it is to gain what we've lost plus much more on top. Now, the only way this is possible is if we're using a leverage of 1 to 1,000 going up. So if your account has got a leverage of 1 to 100, you won't be accumulating profit fast enough for you to recover what you've lost in the other account plus much more on top. So your leverage has to be 1 to 1,000 going up. You following?
Yes.
Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I don't mind going 2 slides back.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2 accounts. In one account, you're going to place a buy, and in the other account, you're going to place a sell. Now, with this strategy, we don't place buy stops or sell stops. We use market execution or instant execution if your broker offers that. So like when we place a buy, we are in the trade there and then. You start seeing your profits and losses fluctuate in real time. So for the extreme, for the EasySMB, we wait for the 10 pips to be hit. That's when we go live. For the extreme, it's the opposite. The moment you click on place, we'll be in the trade there and then.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope everything's clear now.
Yes, everything's clear.
Yeah. Now, the reason why, I just want to go one slide back. The reason why, again, we use the EasySMB for less volatile news events is because let's assume we're using the extreme SMB, right? And we're using market execution. If this news event doesn't move, and we are live in the trade there and then, we still have to pay the commission that we owe the broker, the spread. So if we close those positions with this news event, would have made a net loss because of the same commission, the 2 pip commission that they usually charge. So in this case, it's best you would have used the easy SMB as opposed to the extreme SMB, because with the extreme, you'd have made a loss if the event doesn't move. But with the easy SMB, you didn't have made any loss because the 10 pip difference. I hope it has now made a bit more sense.
Yes, it's making sense.
Okay.
So I would like you to go back to the first slide a bit again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and further explain again, just to.
Okay. For the easy SMB, it only requires one account when it comes to trading. So if you got an account with Hotforex or Just Forex or FBS or whatever broker you have, you'll only be using one of those accounts during the time of executing this trade. Now, within that one account, you are going to place one buy stop and one sell stop. So within that one account, there will be 2 positions, one position for a buy stop and a second position for a sell stop. Then when executing these buy stops and sell stops, you'll be placing them 10 pips away from price's current position. So for a buy stop, you'll be placing it 10 pips above price's current position. Then for a sell stop, it's the opposite. You'll be placing it 10 pips below price's current position, and so on. So that when price drops 10 pips, that's when you go live for a sell stop. Then for a buy stop, if price increases by 10 pips, that's when you go live in the trade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes
that's a much better explanation.
Yes.
Okay. We can move on.
Yeah, we can move on.
Okay. So yeah, the extreme SMB, just remember that it requires 2 accounts. Then in each account, there'll only be one position. So in one account, there'll be one position for a buy, and in the other account, there'll be one position for a sell. So yeah, 2 accounts, one account a buy, the other account a sell, and so on. Now, assuming you're in the account where there's going to be, okay, let's say you're in an account where you placed a buy, right? And price is a buy, price increases during the news event. You're obviously going to see blue everywhere. You're going to see blue everywhere. Now, when you see blue everywhere, you automatically know that while you had placed a sell or the opposite type of trade, there's going to be a loss. Now, in that account, we don't pay any attention to it because what our whole idea is to lose money in the other account and gain where there's the trade is following the news event, the price direction, sorry. So if we had placed a buy here and price is a buy, that's the account that you should be focusing on. Don't worry about that account because our whole idea is to lose money in that account and gain much more in the account where there's profit and so on.
Okay.
So yeah, when you see blue,
so in the
pardon?
In the losing account, you don't place not even a stop loss or something to to safeguard some funds.
No, we don't place any stop losses or take profits. I'll explain why a bit later on.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you're trading and you see blue everywhere, that's the account you should focus on. And the moment you see blue, that's when you start exiting the trades. Because when it comes to news events, when a news event happens and you see blue everywhere, it's most likely reached its maximum height or its maximum depth if it's a sell. Because price increases really quickly when it comes to news events. Everyone reacts at the same time. Everyone wants to make a profit. So that causes the price to move really fast. So by the time by the time the trade turns blue, it's most likely reached its maximum height. So at that point is when you should close. You shouldn't wait for anything or for your profit to keep increasing or anything like that, because price does reverse afterwards because everyone wants to cash out now. So it starts reversing and so on. So the moment it turns blue, just close the trades. Don't get greedy or anything like that. Just take what you're given, and so on. Then when the opposite happens, when you're in the account where there's red and the news event has happened, just know that that's the account that you're sacrificing. And at that point is where you switch to the other side. Because if there's red in this account, that means in the other account there's going to be blue, profit in short. So yeah, you ditch the one where there's red, you go to the other one and you automatically see blue. Then when you see blue, that's when you start closing immediately.
Okay. So with the cream SNB, do you place, you said we do an execution, right?
Market
instant execution.
Instant or market execution, yeah.
All right. And then do we do it minutes before the news event, or maybe during or in the news event?
Yes, that's actually the next thing that I was going to talk about. When it comes to executing these trades, we place them 1 minute before the news event happens. 1 minute maximum. Yeah, if you're able to do it 10 seconds before the news event happens, that's okay. As long as it's within the 1 minute bound, it's okay. So if an event is happening, let's say at 13:30, at 13:29, that's when you start executing the trades, the buys and the sales, or the buy stops and the sell stops if you're using the easiest MB, and so on. So yeah, 1 minute, that's the maximum. Now, on this same topic, the reason why we don't put stop losses in take profits is because we've got 2 positions to place in total. So that's about 30 seconds for each position. Now, if we add on top, if we add stop losses and take profits on top of those 30 seconds, it might chew into 30 seconds. You're following? So it's just best to leave them out so that we have more time to actually place the trade overall.
Okay. Kindly repeat again.
Okay. 1 minute. I said 1 minute is the maximum, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, since we have 2 positions to place, 1 buy and 1 sell, we approximately have 30 seconds for each position. Now,
yes,
within those 30 seconds, you might not be able to place or calculate stop losses and take profits. They might chew into your time or make you late, rather. So it's just best to leave them out so that you have more time to place the trade overall. Yeah, following? So it's not really worth it unless you're that fast when it comes to executing, but 30 seconds might not be enough for you to calculate stop losses and take profits. So yeah, it's just best to leave them out.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, 1 minute is the maximum. If you're able to do all this in 5 seconds, like 5 seconds for a buy and another 5 seconds for a sell, that will help you out because you'll be able to skip the pre-news event price movements, which will help you out overall.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so just keep practicing, then get your time down to as low as possible and you'll be good to go.
Okay, so which time frame is
when it comes to time frames, us as fundamental analysis traders, it's not really important. The reason why is because when we're looking at charts, we don't look for entry points or anything like that. We don't draw any patterns, look at any resistance or support. We don't do any of that. It's not really important for us. So unless you just want to see how far candlesticks are dropping or elongating, going upwards, that's when it might be somewhat useful to us. But overall, it's really not, honestly. It might take away your attention, if you ask me, because you only have 1 minute till the news event happens.
Yes.
So yeah, your focus should be more on this page here, where you're able to see your profit and your losses happen in real time, as opposed to the chart section.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to skip all these slides because you're pretty much not a beginner, right? So I'm going to skip those ones and I'm going to jump right into this one here. This is an application called investing.com. This application it allows us to, hold on first. I think before I get into this, I should explain this. Wait, on this part, you're clear, right?
Yes, on this part, I'm clear.
Okay. Okay, so moving on, the extreme SMB, just like the easy SMB did, it has its own list as well of news events. It's got its own different list. It's separate, yeah. So this is the list, just like I'll do for this list. I'll send you a screenshot of this and of this. So yeah, you can be using the pictures as reference.
Okay.
On this, do you have any questions before we move on to investing.com?
Pardon?
Do you have any questions on this?
Or any question? No question.
Okay. Okay. All right then. Moving on. Investing.com. This is the application that we use to know when news events are going to happen. So if I can just drag this down. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Okay. This list of news events here. For us to know when exactly they're going to happen, we use this application. It's called investing.com. It gives you daily and weekly overviews of the news events. So it can show you what events happened yesterday, what events are happening today, tomorrow, then the weekly overview, it show you this week and up to next week and so on. So yeah, it shows us what time exactly they're going to happen. So like, for example, this news event here, it's happening at 14:30. You can then see there's a flag for the US and the currency. Then there's the details of the news event here. So yeah, it gives us details about the news event, when it's going to happen, what type of news event, and what country is happening in it. You following? Hello?
Yes, I am following.
Okay. So yeah, when you first download this application, you have to create an account, and it's going to adjust the times here to your local time zone. So the times that you're seeing here, this is Central African time. So it adjusts your time zone and so on. So you don't have to worry about that. Then for it to only be showing you high impact news events or events with 3 bulls, like as you can see here, you need to filter it. To filter it, you click on the funnel icon. Then you're going to uncheck. It's going to give you 3 options. 1 option for low, a second option for medium, and a third option for high. For low and medium, you're going to uncheck those. You're going to leave them out. The only option you're going to leave active is the high impact news event option here at the bottom. So yeah, when you do that, it's now going to be showing you news events that move the most or that have got 3 bulls. So yeah, when you open this application, calendars, that's the part you're going to focus on. That's why you go to see all this information. As for news, markets, watch list, these aren't really important to us. The only important part is calendars. That's the part you should be focusing on. Do you have any questions?
I'm clear on this one.
Okay. Now, one thing that the last thing I want to touch on for investing.com is how to actually pick currency pairs when it comes to news event. So like, for example, if we want to trade this news event here, we know that it's happening in Europe, and we know that we're obviously going to use a currency pair with euros at least. Now, there's many currency pairs with euros in it. Which one currency pair do we actually use for this particular news event? How we do that is by getting the currency, in this case it's euros, and then we're going to pair it with USD. So for this particular news event, we are going to use euro stroke USD, Euro USD in short. I hope that's not too difficult.
No.
Yeah. Then for this one, the same principles apply. We get the currency, AUD, and then we're going to pair it with USD. So we're going to use AUD stroke USD, or AUD USD in short, just like that. Now, this only works for news events that aren't happening in the US. So if this event was happening in Britain, GBP, it would have been GBP USD, and so on, just like that. But for news events that are already happening in the US, which already have USD in them and the US flag, how do we actually pick a currency pair? How we do that is by, first of all, taking note of where it's happening. So we know it's happening in the US. So USD is supposed to be amongst the currency pair, amongst the currencies in the currency pair. So we go back to our code section and we look at all the news events, all the currency pairs that have got USD in them. This one has USD, this one has, this one has. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 currency pairs that we could potentially use for that one news event. Now, how do we actually pick one out of this list of 7 currency pairs? How we do that is now by comparing their spreads against each other's spreads. Now, preferably, we want the currency pair with the least amount of spread. Spread is just the commission that you're paying to your broker. So the lower the spread, the quicker you can enter into profitability, because you pay less to your broker and so on. Now, this one has a spread of 19 points. This one's 20, this one's 22, 27, 23, 37, 19. So it's clear that this one and this one, Euro USD and AUD USD, they've got the least spread. You're following? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So we're down to 2 options, Euro USD and AUD USD. Why? Is because they've got the lowest spread. So that's how we got there. Now, since there's 2 options, how do we actually remain with one option only? To do that, we now get into the actual currencies of the currency pair. This one, the only difference between these two is that this one has AUD in it and this one has euros in it. Now you compare euros against AUD, Australian dollars. Now, obviously, euros is more valuable than AUD because more people use euros as opposed to AUD in the world. So if you use euros, you're obviously going to see more activity as opposed to this currency pair here. So yeah, Euro USD, that's the one you go for news events that are happening in the US and so on. But yeah, those are 2 ways that, those are 2 ways that you actually pick currency pairs. I hope that wasn't too complicated to understand, especially for the second example.
It was actually the simplest, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, that's how I pick currency pairs. Do you have any questions?
At the moment, everything is flowing.
Okay, that's good then. That's good. Then one last thing I need to talk about is this application. It's called Google Clock. It just shows you seconds to time that you have on your phone. It shows you seconds. Now, when it comes to practicing, this app will help you out. It will help you keep track of how fast you actually are when it comes to executing the trades. So yeah, it's one app that I recommend to people that have just learned about the strategies so that they can get their time down to as low as possible. So yeah, you can get it, then you can be practicing on getting your time down because the maximum is 1 minute. But if you're able to do all this in 5 seconds, that will help you out a lot. So yeah, you can get it for practicing purposes as well. It's called Google Clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Google Clock, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for the course. Tomorrow we can go over the setup, the accounts, linking them, and so on.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any questions overall?
Okay. At the moment, no. I'm just going to digest whatever I've learned today and practice.
Okay, all right, that's good then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this session on my YouTube channel, then I'm going to send you a link. That's okay?
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, okay. Michael, it was good having you today. Tomorrow we can meet at the same time so that we start the setup.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Same.